The 35 Ford project has moved from its regular surroundings for a little experiment. The team wants to see if spray-on liner will eliminate the need for leather welting and reduce road noise. If it works, it could reduce cost and speed up the schedule.
Hey, Dan. Hey, is this wet still? Nope, it's all dry, ready to go. Great. Real speed off the top.
Although the car was transported the day before, the large sheet metal components were being brought in today.
My name's Tom McWhinney. I've been with the Linux Corporation now for just over 3 years. What we're going to do is we'll back tape around all the edges.
Tom's primary job is to uncover different applications for spray-on bed liner products. Kind of a cool job, if you don't count prep time.
The prep is the most important thing to the vehicle. Running your wire trim, it's a 1/4-inch tape with a piano wire in it, so it makes a nice clean cut, gives a good clean look to it. You always want to sand it before you spray it. That way you cut in, basically you're cutting into the metal, so the Linux is going to adhere to it very well.
I have a short list of things I don't enjoy. Sanding is near the top, and here's why.
Poor Dan, he was sanding the running board and sliced his thumb open, and I had to tape him up and fix him up.
Fortunately, I always have a nurse on standby for just such occasions.
Proper equipment is very vital when you're spraying Linux. We wear full-length jumpsuits. That way your arms, always wear gloves so your hands are protected. We use a fresh air breathing system, which is a small compressor. Generates fresh air into a full-face mask so your eyes and your mouth are all completely covered.
Running boards and fenders are nothing new for Tom. As part of the research team, he's applied bed liner to every sort of thing you can imagine. Patio furniture, flower pots, clothing. If you ask him, he'll spray it. Experimenting has paid off for them, too. The Army now uses this stuff on flak jackets to reduce shrapnel injuries.
With this product, when you spray it, you're making a couple quick passes over it, and once that hardens up, which takes 5 to 7 seconds, you step back, and basically you're putting a fog coat on it. And what that's doing is the Linux is falling down onto the material and adhering to it, and that's what gives you a textured look.
In this bake booth, the spray-on is hard and dry in less than 5 minutes.
With the older hot rods like this, adding the Linux to it's going to add durability to it. Also helps with sound deadening. This is a great car to do it on, real easy to work with, everything on bolts. With this, just Linux it real good, tape everything off, and it's a solid, going to be even more solid than it originally was.
In less than an hour, the entire job is done and ready to go back to the build team. A quick push out the door and we're set to see if the theory will resolve problems or create them. Remember, it's not just sound deadening we're looking for here, it's a component replacement. Installing old-school webbing or welt material is tedious and time-consuming. The purpose of welt is to protect painted metal-to-metal surfaces from coming into direct contact. The build team will determine if the spray-on liner does the same thing faster and cheaper.
When the fenders came back with the coating and the undercoating and stuff, I was just so pleased.
It came out better than I ever even imagined, Dan. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It looks good, but can it replace leather or vinyl webbing?
We had a couple of holes that we had to rework a little bit to elongate.
The front and rear fenders were already a snug fit before we applied the coating. So there's some concern that it may not fit with a slightly thicker surface.
Mounting the rear fender isn't that bad as long as you line up the holes correctly. You know, it's just a one-shot ordeal. But lining the whole running boards, the front fenders and the back fender, it's a real problem. You gotta make sure all the bolts are loose just to get everything lined up, and then you gotta go in a pattern from front to back or back to front to tighten it all up to make it all flush and parallel.
The running boards on 30s and 40s vehicles were more practicality than show. They were really an integral part of getting in and out of the vehicle.
Time for the ultimate test.
This is becoming one solid build.